Hello, my name is Leroy Blevins. Welcome to Mysteries and Histories. In this episode here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to answer some questions that was asked to me over some emails and stuff, and go a little bit more details and give a little bit more insight to the JFK assassination. Now, like I said, I spent 12 years on this case, and I had to go through a lot of documents and a lot of reports and everything else, and find out what was actual facts and what was actual false claims that was made in the JFK assassination case. And I want to do is clear up some stuff right along with answering questions, because a lot of people still believes in certain things, stuff what they are told, and I know there's a lot of people out there try to say I'm wrong or whatever, but these are actually the real facts. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is first thing I'm going to do is bring up Lyndon B. Johnson. Now, this image here I colorized myself. Now, it's claimed that Lyndon B. Johnson was there with JFK to assassinate him, okay, which is false claims. Lyndon B. Johnson, the only reason why he was in Dallas that day is he was actually in Texas with them the whole time that they first started there. And the reason why Lyndon B. Johnson was there is because of JFK. JFK requested Lyndon B. Johnson be with him as he goes through Texas, because they feel, because way JFK looked at it, because remember they was behind on the polls in Texas. So if they have Lyndon B. Johnson with him, JFK would think, well, this will put us ahead in the polls, because if they know they have a fellow Texan with me and running with me, then we can get Texas on our side. All right, you got to realize when you're running for president, okay, you take certain people with you, just like you took Lyndon B. Johnson. That's the reason why Lyndon B. Johnson was there that day. Now, I know a lot of people says he was there to plan out JFK was going to be assassinated by him and everything else, which I also want to talk about that as well. Lyndon B. Johnson, as I point out, was there because of JFK requested him to be there with him as they gone through Texas. Not only in Dallas, but in other locations as well when he was going through Texas, so that people know that, hey, I have a fellow Texan with me, and he's with me and he's running with me, so you should vote for me. Basically, that's about it. Okay. Two, Lyndon B. Johnson. Why would he? Now, a lot of people probably probably disagree with me on this, but the reason why I don't think Lyndon B. Johnson was behind JFK's murder is because, one, there was a lot of things that Lyndon B. Johnson did to carry out what JFK wanted done. Okay, now if he wanted JFK killed, all right, and because to take his place and become president, he would have vanquished everything that JFK was doing. But he didn't. He followed through with them. Two, think about this for a moment. JFK was already president for 3 years. He was going for re-election. All right. Now, people will sit there and says, well, he was going to have somebody else run with him instead of Lyndon B. Johnson. So Lyndon B. Johnson would be vice president no more. Think about that for a moment. If JFK went ahead and say they had gone through Dallas and all through Texas and stuff like that without any assassination or anything, and then a little bit down the road, he goes ahead and pushes uh, Lyndon B. Johnson away and puts somebody else in his place to run for vice president, wouldn't you think Texas would have turned against JFK as well? That would have been a really dumb move. So he was never going to replace Lyndon B. Johnson. Okay, because even JFK's mother said that JFK always spoke highly of him. Behind the scenes, people spoke highly of Lyndon B. Johnson on the Kennedy side, behind the scenes. Because remember, the Kennedys were Democrats right along with Lyndon B. Johnson being a Democrat. Okay, now think about this. If Lyndon B. Johnson was going to assassinate JFK, why would he wait until he's already 3 years into it? Wouldn't he have done it earlier so he could serve the 4-year term. Because remember, he only had can be serving president for 1 year. Now, wonder if he did not win that election. Wonder if Lyndon B. Johnson didn't win an election, where he would have been, instead of being in office for 4 years or 5 years, he could have been in office for 8 years. Okay, instead of just 1 year and then the 4 years. You see what I'm saying? Or even take that chance of not being able to become president. Okay, because remember, he's still running for president. So what if after the assassination, Lyndon B. Johnson didn't win? Then what would happen? He would only been president for 1 year. So why would he assassinate JFK if he was only going to be president for 1 year? Okay, why would he wait until 3 years that JFK was in office, to assassinate him? Okay, because he was taking a chance. If he took out Kennedy, he was taking a chance on if he was going to win the following election. By luck, he did win the election. Okay, but he only served, that partial term, which is 1 year, and then he served his full term, which is 4 years. Okay, but you have to look at these as well. If he wanted to take out Kennedy, he would have took him out from the word go. As soon as he was elected, that would at least gave him 4 years in office to be on the safe side, instead of taking a chance of only being in office for 1 year. He would have been in office for 4 years. You see? So there's a lot of things when you look at this. We hear the stories that people made up. We hear the stories and the false claims that's been out there for years and years. They told us so much, and implanted it in our brain. But when we think outside that box, like I always said, I always talk about looking outside that box and going over everything. Okay? This is what we have to look at. And this is what we have to think about. People sit there, it's like Lyndon B. Johnson was there because he was there to make sure JFK was assassinated, but then turn around, he was there because JFK asked him to be there. And if he was going to assassinate a president, why would he take that chance of only serving 1 year as president instead of 4 years? Yes, he got reelected, but wonder if he didn't. He would have only been president for 1 year and about a month. 1 year and 1 month. He would have been president. You see what I'm saying? So that's a big risk if he wanted to take JFK out. He would have took him out at the beginning of his term. So he at least would have 3 to 4 years in office instead of just the 1 year. So we have to look at this. People want to make these claims and stuff, but that's why people have questions after questions. Okay? They want to tell you that Lyndon B. Johnson was there, but they're not going to tell you the reason why he was there, because JFK asked him to be there. And JFK wanted the people to see a fellow Texan that's running with him to become president of the United States for the second term. He wanted Texas behind him. The only way you get Texas behind him is have a fellow Texan with him. And show them that the fellow Texan that's with him is also going to be vice president. Now, if he was going to get rid of Lyndon B. Johnson, okay, then Texas will be against him because they're going to say, hey, wait a minute. You said Lyndon B. Johnson was behind you. And Johnson's going to go, be vice president with you. But then turn around, you're going to kick him to the side. Okay? JFK wouldn't even served another term because he would have lost votes. So when people sit there and throw this in and throw that in just to cover their story, okay, putting that false information out there, they're not giving it full thought. Because people, you got to understand that when it comes to research, they're looking at everything back then. So back then you could get away with a lot of stuff because there wasn't motion cameras, there wasn't no photo analysts or really great detectives or anything else. Like the technology we have nowadays where we can find all this information out. And then when we start going through it, we start piecing it together, they never expected nobody to do this. Okay, so Lyndon B. Johnson was not behind the assassination of JFK. Lyndon B. Johnson was there because of JFK, because he wanted him there. Just like when we bring up Alt Jen's image right here. They claim that he ducked down behind the seat. Well, let's look at this for a moment. Here's Lady Bird, Senator Yarborough. Lyndon B. Johnson's right here. If you watch my cursor, Lyndon B. Johnson is right here. We can see this left side of his face right here. We can see his ear, his hair, partial of his neck, and his left cheek right here. Right here is a Secret Service agent in front of Lyndon B. Johnson, which what he's doing is trying to look around. So the head's right here, and he's trying to look around off to his right to look past the guy in front of him. Now, if Lyndon B. Johnson ducked down behind the seat, as people want to put out there as well, wouldn't Lady Bird be looking down? Hey, like, what are you doing down there? Wouldn't Senator Yarborough, instead of sitting there smiling and everything else, would he be looking down saying, hey, what's going on? Wouldn't you think the driver or the Secret Service agent be sitting there turning around saying, hey, what's going on? Is he all right? You see what I'm saying? They want to bring out this and stuff because you can't see Lyndon B. Johnson here because you can see his wife here and Senator Yarborough in here. But where's Lyndon B. Johnson? He's over here. He's pushed to the side. Basically, he's turning over to the side like that, trying to look around the guy that's in front of him. You know, trying to look forward. And you see them smiling so they know, you know, everything's fine and dandy. Now that brings us on to the second question that was asking me was, why was there a stand down? Again, we're going to go right back to JFK ordered a stand down. JFK ordered a stand down because he wanted the public to feel like they can come up to him. There wasn't nothing between him and the public. So this is the reason why he ordered the stand down. This is the reason why there wasn't nobody on the back of JFK's limo or even on the side of JFK's limo. That's why he ordered the police officers to stand back, right with the Secret Service agents stand back, because he wants the people to feel free and not feel scared or anything to come close to him. Again, JFK's decision. JFK's decision for Lyndon B. Johnson to be there. JFK's decision for the Secret Service agents to stand back. The people ask, well, why didn't he have that bubble on his car? Again, we're going back to JFK. JFK said, well, you know, since it's a beautiful day and the rain stopped and stuff, again, he wanted the bubble off of the car, you know, the hood off the car, so people could still come to him and get close to him. Even with that bubble over him, that clear hood over him, people still couldn't come up to him. Because remember, JFK still got out. He stood up in the car. He reached over and shook people's hands as they was going through the motorcade route there. He got out of the limo, walked over to the people that's on the curb, shake their hands and everything else. Then he got back inside the limo and they continue on driving down. They're not going to point this stuff out, but I do, because it's JFK ordered that as well. The stand down, the top off the car, Lyndon B. Johnson being there. So there's three things that people want to push out and push out there and push out there. And JFK was the one who ordered this. I mentioned this in my other videos. When the assassination was over with, it was Mrs. Kennedy, JFK's wife, and Robert Kennedy who signed the orders to cover and hide all the evidence for 75 years as well. It was the Kennedys that did it. Okay, people wants to throw this bunch of stuff out there, okay, and give this false information out, but they're not telling us the truth. It was the Kennedys that ordered everything to be sealed and put away for 75 years. Okay, it was signed by Jacqueline Kennedy, and then it was signed by Robert Kennedy. Okay, they signed that order as well. So see, the questions that people's asking me is, why was Lyndon B. Johnson there? Why was Secret Service doing a stand down? Why wasn't the hood over top of the car? You know, I'm answering these questions because of, I know the facts. I know the truth. I have it in files after files after files. Okay, documents and everything else. And there's a lot of things we have to look at and we have to go over and we have to understand. It was JFK ordering Lyndon B. Johnson to be there. It was JFK ordered the top off the car and the stand down. Okay, it was Jacqueline Kennedy and Robert Kennedy that cover, you know, the place the evidence and file away for 75 years. Okay, they're too busy pointing their fingers at everything else and overlooking the facts and overlooking the truth. Okay, and this is why a lot of things are being, That's where that cover-up comes from. That's where that conspiracy comes from. Okay, because they want us to believe these stories. That's why I sit there and people understand. That's why I said I believe in what I see. When I read the documents, you got Robert Kennedy's signature on the paperwork. You got Jacqueline Kennedy's signature on the paperwork of hiding the evidence. You not only have the stories from Lyndon B. Johnson, but the Secret Service agents and other agencies and everything else, and documents where Kennedy signed that he wanted Lyndon B. Johnson there with him. He ordered, and when you make an order, you have to sign it, and he signs them orders. There was a stand down. He ordered the hood to be completely removed from the car. He ordered the stand down. Okay? He did it. JFK. Everybody wants to sit there and just think of, or this, or that, this, that, this, that. But really, that's the truth. So see, when you bring in this and when you look at this, I should say, when you look at this and you think outside that box, like I said, outside that box, you get a better perspective when you're doing your research, and you get better perspective in understanding what is actually taking place and what's going on. Like I said, I want to make this. I'm gonna make this a two-parter, so these videos don't be too long. Okay, because the second one I'm going to make after this one is about the gunmen. Why was there that many gunmen there? Why was there that many shots fired? Because you already see them on a wall back behind me. Two things which I'm going to bring up and just show. But like I said, when we look at this, we get more of an understanding now that a lot of these rumors that people starts out there about Lyndon B. Johnson and the stand down and all this other stuff, they're going to push this issue, but they're pushing the government doing all this cover up. The government is the one that ordered the stand down. Lyndon B. Johnson was there to make sure JFK was assassinated. Okay, it's easy to make up a story. Okay, because everybody knows I got fiction books out there as well. I can write a fiction story. But research is not about fiction. Research is about reality. And that's what I do when it comes to my research, is reality. I push away the false claims. I bring in that truth. And I look at that truth. And that's where we get more of a story once we find that true story. I wanted to make this video here because people's been asking me about that, and they've been asking me a lot of questions. Okay. So I want to make a couple videos here real quick and post them tonight for them so they can have this, their answers. Lyndon B. Johnson was there because of JFK requested it. Not only in Dallas, but through the whole tour of Texas, because JFK wanted Governor Lyndon B. Johnson there to let people know that, hey, I got a fellow Texan here running with me. So he's behind me. You should be behind me. Lyndon B. Johnson did not duck behind the car, down in the car and stuff like that, which I showed you. All right, so that's a bunch of false claims as well when they said, he ducked down and everything else. The stand down was ordered again by JFK. He ordered the police officers to stand back, and he ordered this Secret Service agents to stand back as well, so people could come up to his limo, talk to him, shake his hand so he can get out of his vehicle, walk over to the curb and stuff and shake people's hands and stuff. And that's another reason why he took off that bubble on his car as well, because it wasn't raining. It was starting to become a nice day. So he figured, this would be more of a chance for people to come closer to me. So JFK ordered that as well. And to place the files into evidence for 75 years, that was ordered by Mrs. Kennedy and Robert Kennedy. Don't forget that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to tell your friends about us. Share this video on your social medias and stuff like that. Always in the description down below, you'll find a site where you can order my book, Evidence of Conspiracy, on paperback or Kindle, sold through Amazon. Look for my next video, which I'm making now, about why the gunmen there and why that many shots and why that many gunmen. Thank you, and you have a pleasant day.